Celebrities are rallying to his cause, saying this is a First Amendment assault being carried out by the FCC, Brendan Carr, and by the President of the United States himself. And to that, you say?
Well, there are two things. First of all, I'd like them to tell me exactly what Brendan Carr did to have Jimmy Kimmel taken off the air, because number one, he is currently on the air, and to the extent that he isn't in certain stations, it's because he's not funny and because his ratings aren't very good.
I have some good news for you, J-Dog. We're back on all the stations. And every home, every bar, every strip club, and every prison in America.
You know, you've mentioned it before. It's crazy. You've got a vice president who's basically troller-in-chief.
Yeah.
And by the way, you know, we hardly ever say somebody is lying, somebody is not telling the truth. So many of his statements just demand it because they are so false. You know, like his claim a couple weeks ago that everybody knows there's more violence on the left politically than it's everybody knows that's a lie. 75% of violence, political violence over the past 20 years has come. You know, it comes from the right. If you're talking about domestic terrorism, and that's like Cato, the Koch brothers, their studies show that. CSIS shows that. But there's one statement after another statement that's just detached from reality. And I don't know, do you think somebody told him, be troller-in-chief, that's why we want you there? It's just, and the people he, like, gets into a fight with on X, on social media,
or sometimes just random people, or like Substack authors. You know, we've all, you know, it's a Washington joke about the lack of responsibilities, the office of the vice presidency. But J.D. Vance clearly has a lot of time on his hands because his number one job description appears to be whether doing interviews or particularly on social media, not only pushing forth, false statements, but just picking fights. And I've been told that he sees that, you know, social media obviously worked part of Donald Trump's rise. He sees that could be a similar path for him as he is jockeying with others for the MAGA mantle to be Trump's heir apparent. But it is striking how much time Vance seems to have to do exactly this, to tweet. He seems to be on his phone all hours of the day.
Well, and you know, in that case, here's another great example, Willie, where he says, well, what did Brendan Carr do or say? He didn't do it. No, he said, we can do this the easy way,
or the hard way.
Or we can do this the hard way.
The day Kimmel was pulled off the air.
And he said that before Brendan Carr said it, and then ABC suddenly decides they have to move. Again, this is like, it's all there. It's all on video. It's all really easy to trace the timeline, unless you're really hoping to connect with the lowest of low information voters, because the info's all there.
Mm-hmm. The lesson he's learned back when he was anti-Trump, when he was a never-Trumper saying he would be America's Hitler and all that, when Trump succeeded and won and became president, the lesson J.D. Vance learned was to be combative, to be a troller, to cry libs or whatever he wants to say. And so immediately, even as the Vice President of the United States goes to that place of division, what's the thing I could say that's the most confrontational, including on these horrific tragedies that we've seen just over the last couple of weeks, rushing to assign blame, rushing to make a larger point that is not based in fact. Right, before we even know anything about the shooter, rushing to say, see, there they go again. And often he's wrong about it.
And here he is last week assigning blame again, just immediately before the investigation's even moving forward. Take a look.
But if you look at the political violence in our country over the last couple of months, the last couple of years, it is not a both sides problem. It is primarily on one side of the political aisle. So if we are going to truly go after the political violence in this country, we need the Democratic leadership of Washington, D.C. to look in the mirror.
So here he blames Democrats for Mad Men shooting things up. Blames Democrats, falsely says it's the Democrats' fault. One thing he did get right, he said it's predominantly on one side of the aisle, or one side, and it's the far right. Cato, again, the Koch brothers. Cato said it's predominantly right wing. CSIS, predominantly right wing. Every study has shown that this century, you've got Islamic radicalism, but 391 murders on the right since 1975, 65 on the left. It's just not even a close call. And sadly and tragically, it's continued this week. And you see no Democratic leaders coming out trying to blame Donald Trump. What's that? On here, you're looking at 3 decades of political violence. Yellow is far right-wing extremism, violence, and the green is the left. And yet we've seen shootings over the past several days. And Democrats haven't rushed out trying to blame the administration or trying to blame people on the far right. It's just ghoulish that you have these unspeakable tragedies, and then you have the White House, J.D. Vance, you have Donald Trump, you have Stephen Miller, you have it seems like every far-right podcaster, they all go out and they all say this is all the Democrats' fault. And yet when it's on the other side and it's some right-wing extremist, dead silence. You don't even hear anything. And most of the people in that closed-off information bubble don't even know about it. It's just sad. It's tragic.
And we have seen, I mean, even in very high-profile incidents in the last couple of weeks, the rush, whether it's the FBI director or the vice president, to color the narrative in the about a shooting by putting out information, false or not, but like flooding the zone with, hey, when it looks like the suspect might be, quote, left-wing. But yet we have had in recent days a number of shootings that do not appear that, where there's some of the, and we're going to get into some of the details in a second here, where it seems like some of the individuals, at least in their social media accounts, might even be more conservative in their politics. Nothing at all from the White House.
Just silence.
Just silence, just hoping it will go away.
And I think, more importantly, nothing from Democratic leaders or Democratic politicians blaming Republicans. Because, of course, that would be unbelievably reckless and irresponsible.
And it used to be the golden standard, Mika, was simply let the investigation play out. The facts will come as they come, as opposed to this rush to judgment.
Exactly. The lurching to blame is really what's disturbing here, because as investigations like this bear out, you learn a lot of things about these people. You can't jump to make one conclusion unless you're trying to score political points and hurt people.